All right, let's dive in. Today, we're actually going on a bit of an adventure, and I want you to forget about any dusty chalkboards or confusing textbooks you might remember. We're going to see how algebra is this super powerful, real-world tool that can help you run a business, solve puzzles, and just, well, think smarter. You ready to start? Let's do this.
So, to get us started, Barkada Sophia. That's good morning in Hausa, and we're starting here for a very specific reason. Our whole adventure today is set in the incredible, vibrant city of Lagos, Nigeria.
And I want you to meet Tunde. He's kind of our hero for today. He's helping out at his mom's suya stand, and he's figuring out super quickly that to make the business a success, he can't just be good at grilling. Nope. He has to master the secret language of numbers. And you guessed it, that language is algebra.
Okay, so mission number 1 is to really understand what this language is all about. This isn't just about passing a math test, you know? It's about giving Tunde and you the tools to solve actual everyday challenges.
And the key to this whole thing? It's something called algebraic expressions. The best way to think of them is like secret codes. Seriously, that letter X you always see, it isn't scary. It's just a placeholder, a mystery spot for a number we haven't figured out yet. You know, like the profit for the day or how many sticks of suya you sold. All right, so for our next mission, we're going to see how these codes actually work. It's time to learn how to read them and write them, and we're starting with 2 key skills that are, wait for it, complete opposites of each other: expansion and factorization. Okay, first up, we've got expansion. I want you to imagine you're getting all your ingredients ready to cook. You have to unpack everything, lay it all out so you can see what you've got, right? Well, expansion is just the math version of that. You multiply out the brackets to see all the individual parts of your secret code. Let's make this real. Say Tunde's auntie gives him a gift of 5 times the sum of x plus 2 naira. Now, to figure out the total, we need to expand it. We just distribute that 5 to everything inside the bracket. So 5 times x gives us 5x, and 5 times 2 gives us 10. So the whole thing, 5 times x plus 2, expands out to become 5x plus 10. See? Not so bad, right? Okay, so what about doing all of that in reverse? Well, that's factorization. Think about it. After a long day at the stand, you don't just leave all your ingredients out. You bundle them back up, right? You pack them away neatly. Factorization does exactly that. It takes a long expression and packs it back into its simplest, most bundled-up form.
So let's say Tunde's helping pack up some moy moy, and he's got this expression, 12y plus 18. So we ask, what's the biggest number that fits perfectly into both 12 and 18? You got it, it's 6. So we pull that 6 out to the front of the bracket, and what are we left with inside? Well, we're left with 6 times 2y plus 3. We just tidied everything up.
And here you can just see it side by side. It just clicks, doesn't it? Expansion is all about unpacking the ingredients, making the expression bigger. And factorization is about bundling them back up, making it more compact. They're really just 2 sides of the very same coin.
Right, I know what you're thinking. That's all fine for the simple stuff, but what about these big, scary-looking puzzles? Expressions like this are called quadratics. And yeah, they can definitely look like a boss-level challenge. But you know what? Every boss level has a secret strategy. Now, the source material gives us this awesome tool called the box method. Think of it like a cheat code for these big puzzles. So for an expression like x squared plus 4x plus 3, this method helps us find 2 magic numbers. Here's the trick. They need to multiply to get the last number, which is 3, and they have to add up to get the middle number, which is 4. So what 2 numbers do that? Well, it can only be 3 and 1. And that's our solution. The expression becomes x plus 3 times x plus 1.
Okay, now that we've got those decoding skills down, we are ready for our next mission, actually applying them to solve some real puzzles.
And this brings us to something called quantitative reasoning. I know, it's a fancy term, but all it really means is thinking smart. It's about using your new algebra skills, plus a little bit of logic, to figure out the missing pieces of any problem. Let's try a super quick one. You and me, right now. 3 times what equals 15? Yeah, you probably knew instantly it was 5. See? You just used quantitative reasoning. You solved for an unknown. That, my friends, is algebra in its simplest form. All right, for our final mission, we're going to tackle something that is a huge part of Nigerian culture: sharing. And when algebra meets sharing, what we get is something called algebraic factions. You know, whether it's splitting a plate of delicious jollof rice or figuring out the bus fare with friends, this idea of dividing things up is just
everywhere. And algebraic fractions? They're just the official mathematical way of writing down that act of sharing.
So, picture this. The total bus fare for a group is 10A, and there are 2A people. To find the cost for each person, we just simplify. The A on the top and the A on the bottom, they cancel each other out. Gone. Then 10 divided by 2 is just 5. So after all that algebra, the simplified fare is just 5. And poof, the letters disappear, and we're left with a nice, simple answer.
But here's where it gets really cool. The real test is finding the algebra that's kind of hidden inside a story. This is where Tunde becomes a true math genius, when he can look at a real-world situation like packing gari and turn it into an algebraic fraction.
Just look at how we can map this out. If Papa Emeka packs a whole bag of gari in 5 hours, that means his rate of work is 1/5 of the bag every hour. Makes sense, right? Now, if his son Shinedu does it in X hours, his rate is 1/X. So to find their combined rate when they work together, we just add their rates together. 1/5 plus 1/X. And just like that, we've translated a real-life story into pure math. How cool is that?
Wow. So, after that whole adventure, where does that leave us? Well, we've actually built an entire algebraic toolkit that Tunde and you can now use for pretty much any challenge that comes your way.
Let's take a look at what's in it. You can now expand and factorize expressions. You can tackle those big quadratics using the box method. You can solve logic puzzles, simplify fractions, and, maybe most important of all, you can pull the algebra right out of a story problem and solve it. That is a seriously powerful set of skills. And just like the source material says, you are now fully equipped. You've made it through the adventure, and you've absolutely earned your title as a math champion. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to chew on. Now that you got this toolkit, whether it's splitting a bill with friends, planning a project, or maybe even managing your own suya stand one day, what real-world puzzle will you solve with algebra first?